Hello everyone. Sung with Face wishing you all a joyful new day. Today, I'd like to share with you a heartfelt story about a single mother named lytudiep. As dawn broke, dewdrops still clung to the tips of grass outside, glistening like tiny pearls. The distant crow of a rooster echoed through the quiet air, signaling the start of another day. Lytudiep woke up early, gently rousing her little daughter. After dressing the child neatly, she carried her to Grandma Tin at the end of the lane. "Be good, my dear. Mommy will be back soon after work," she said softly, her voice tender as the morning breeze. The sleepy child rubbed her eyes, hugged her mother's neck for a moment, then smiled and nestled into Grandma Tin's arms. Leaving her small tiled roof house, Lytudiep slung a weathered bamboo basket over her shoulder, put on a frayed conical hat, and walked slowly toward the backyard garden. The first rays of sunlight filtered through the leaves, shining on the rows of green beans still glistening with dew. The fresh scent of soil and the faint aroma of bean flowers filled the air, bringing an inexplicable sense of peace to her heart. She knelt down, her skilled hands gently turning each plant. Every bean pod was carefully chosen, plump, smooth, and firm. Before she pulled it up, shook off the soil, and placed it into the basket. The pods, full and round, seemed to hold the very essence of earth and sky. Sweat rolled down her temples under the sunlight, yet she didn't mind. Her eyes glowed with quiet focus and serenity. For Lytudiep, picking beans wasn't just work. It was a simple comfort in a life filled with hardship. When her basket was finally heavy, Lytudiep stood up, shielding her eyes from the sun as she looked around the lush garden. A faint smile appeared on her lips. Gathering the freshly picked beans, she tied them securely and carried them to the market. The dirt path still shimmered with morning mist, lined with bamboo groves swaying gently in the wind. Birds chirped cheerfully as if cheering on the hard-working woman. At the market, Lytudiep spread a small mat by the roadside and neatly arranged her baskets of beans. The freshly harvested beans, smooth and dewy, caught everyone's attention. "These are homegrown, aren't they? They look so fresh," a middle-aged woman asked, picking up a few pods. "Yes, I just picked them this morning. They're very sweet," Lytudiep replied softly with a gentle smile. Soon more customers gathered. Some wanted beans for soup, others to boil for a refreshing meal. The chatter, the sound of knives, and the clatter of baskets blended into a lively morning melody. Through it all, Lytudiep's kind smile never faded as her hands moved swiftly, wrapping and handing out bundles of beans. Before long, her basket was almost empty. When the last customer left, leaving just a few stray pods behind, Lytudiep sat down and sighed in quiet relief. She saved a few beans for Grandma Tin and her daughter, then counted the small bills in her hand. Not much, but enough to fill her heart with contentment. It was the fruit of her morning's labor, sweat, effort, and the joy of knowing her child would have a warm meal that night. By now, the sun was high, spreading golden light across the narrow village road. With her empty basket, Lytudiep walked home lightly, thinking of her little girl waiting, of the smell of freshly cooked rice, and the laughter in their humble kitchen. Despite the struggles, today still felt beautifully worth living. Recently, Alex's work had been going well. The project he once worried over was finally running smoothly, and he found himself with more time to appreciate the small things in life. In his heart, the image of Lytudiep, that simple, gentle, resilient woman, had become clearer than ever. He silently realized that his feelings for her had grown far beyond friendship, though he had never confessed them. But somewhere else, me, who had long harbored feelings for Alex, couldn't accept it. She quietly observed his every move. How his face lit up when he mentioned Lytudiep. How his eyes softened whenever he saw her at the market or in the bean field. Jealousy began to smolder within me's heart, slowly turning into bitter envy. "What does she have that I don't?" she muttered coldly at her reflection. Dark thoughts began to form as she plotted something cruel. Me hired a few idle men around the neighborhood to spy on Lytudiep, waiting for a chance to harm her. The 2 men me hired were far from decent. For days they followed Tuna from dawn till dusk. When she worked in the garden, they hid behind fences, watching. When she went to the market, they pretended to be bystanders, drinking tea nearby while keeping an eye on her. Tuna had no idea. She lived as innocently as ever, mornings in the field, afternoons at the market, evenings at home with her child and Grandma Tin. Meanwhile, the two strangers waited silently, preparing to strike when the time came. The peaceful afternoons of the small village, once golden and warm, began to take on a dull, ominous hue. Something dark was drawing near, and Tuna still didn't know. While dark schemes quietly surrounded them, Tuna and Alex remained blissfully unaware. They were still living through rare, peaceful days. Days where trust and affection slowly took root. That morning, after finishing his work at the factory, Alex decided to visit Tuna. When he arrived at her small house, the bougainvillea vines were blooming beautifully by the porch. From afar, he could already see her sitting on the ground sorting beans, with little Eri playing nearby. The child's laughter rang bright and clear, washing away all of life's worries. Alex stopped his car, stepped out, and smiled more warmly than usual. "Are you busy today?" he asked, his voice calm and gentle. Tuna looked up, a bit surprised but happy. "No, I just finished." "Why do you ask?" Alex smiled softly, his eyes full of affection. "I want to take you and Eri home to meet my mother." The words made Tuna's heart skip a beat. "Go home to meet your mother? Is that okay?" she asked nervously. "It's okay," Alex said, gently holding her hand. "I've thought about it for a long time. I don't want things between us to just stay where they are. I want my mother to know that I truly love you." A wave of emotion shimmered in Tuna's eyes. She looked at him, her heart trembling and warm at once, and could only nod silently. Eri watched the two adults in confusion but smiled when his mother did, even though he didn't quite understand why. That afternoon, Alex drove slowly toward his mother's house. Wildflowers lined both sides of the road, and the breeze danced softly through the open window. Tuna sat in the passenger seat, clutching her child's hand. Though she tried to appear calm, her heart was pounding. She feared being judged, feared rejection. Yet deep down she still hoped Alex's sincerity would speak for them both. When the car stopped in front of a sunlit white villa, Mrs. Linda, Alex's mother, was already standing at the porch. Her eyes lit up at the sight of her son, but when she noticed Tuna and the little boy beside him, her expression froze for a moment. Alex quickly walked over and gently took her hand. "Mom, I want you to meet someone. This is Tuna, the woman I love. And this is her son, Eri." Mrs. Linda looked at the two for a long while, her face a mix of surprise and contemplation. She knew her son had once been hurt in love, and now he had chosen a single mother. The thought confused her. But when she saw the tenderness in Alex's eyes and heard the tremor in his voice, she could sense how real his feelings were. "You truly love her?" she asked softly. "Yes," Alex replied firmly. "I've never been so sure about anything. She's kind, strong, and full of heart. Please give her a chance. Give me a chance." Mrs. Linda stayed silent for a few seconds, then her gaze softened. When Tuna shyly bowed in greeting, she smiled and stepped forward. "Don't be nervous, dear. I may not know everything, but if you make Alex happy, then I'll welcome you as my own daughter." Her warm tone nearly brought Tuna to tears. She bowed again in gratitude, just as Eri hid behind his mother's legs. Mrs. Linda crouched down, opening her arms. "Come here, little one." Eri hesitated for a moment, then slowly walked over. She lifted him up and beamed. "Oh my, how adorable. You look just like your mother." That sight filled Alex with quiet emotion. Watching his mother, Tuna, and Eri together, his heart overflowed with happiness. Finally, what he had longed for most, acceptance and connection between the two women he loved, had begun to take shape. That evening the house was filled with laughter. Their first shared meal across 3 generations was simple yet heartwarming. Mrs. Linda told stories from the past, Tuna listened and smiled gently, while Alex sat quietly, savoring the joy before him. He didn't realize that, somewhere outside, a pair of cold eyes were still watching from the shadows. As the golden glow of sunset bathed the dining room, everything felt natural and serene. After a while, Alex glanced at the 2 women and smiled, a new idea forming in his mind. He leaned down and gently patted Erie's head. "Hey, buddy, how about we go play in the garden for a bit? Let Grandma and Mom prepare dinner." Okay, Erie chirped, grabbing his father's hand as they ran outside, leaving the 2 women alone in the kitchen. The window was open, and the last rays of sunlight streamed through the curtains, mingling with the soft scent of rice and spice. Tuna felt a bit uneasy. It was her first time standing in such a beautiful kitchen, beside a woman she both respected and feared. She quietly rinsed the rice, speaking in a small, polite voice. "Let me do it, please, Mom. You should rest." Mrs. Linda smiled, rolling up her sleeves. "It's all right, dear. Let's cook together. This kitchen's been lonely for too long. It's nice to have some company again." Those simple words warmed Tuna's heart. She nodded gently, slicing vegetables and arranging meat with careful, graceful hands. From time to time, she stole a glance at Alex's mother, then quickly looked away, blushing. As the kitchen filled with a calm rhythm, Mrs. Linda found herself studying the woman her son had chosen. The more she observed, the more she saw Tuna's gentle sincerity, her hard-working hands, kind eyes, and humble grace. After a quiet moment, Mrs. Linda set down the knife and spoke softly. "My dear." Tuna startled slightly and turned to her. "Yes, Mom." Mrs. Linda looked at her with a mix of seriousness and warmth. "I know everything now. Alex told me about you too. I'll admit I was surprised at first, but when I see how he looks at you, I know it's real." Tuna's hands trembled. She didn't know how to respond. Mrs. Linda's tone softened. "I just want to ask you honestly, do you love Alex? Do you truly want to be with him? Even if the road ahead isn't easy?" The question struck deep. Tuna clasped her hands tightly, her eyes brimming with tears. "Yes, I love him truly, but I know I'm not worthy of him. I'm just a single mother with nothing to offer." Mrs. Linda fell silent for a moment, then smiled gently, placing a comforting hand on Tuna's shoulder. "My dear, I don't care about your past or where you come from. Everyone has their own story. What matters is who you are now. I just need to know that you truly love and care for Alex. If you do, then that's all I need to hear." Tears spilled down Tuna's cheeks as she whispered, "Thank you, Mom. Promise, I won't ever let him be hurt." Mrs. Linda stroked her back, her voice kind and motherly. "Love is never easy to define. I won't force or forbid anything. All I hope is that you both live honestly and cherish each other sincerely. The rest, time will tell." In that moment, the kitchen seemed filled with the warmth of understanding. Outside, Erie's laughter echoed from the garden, blending with the gentle sounds of cooking, creating a quiet symphony of home, simple yet full of happiness. Tuna wiped her tears and smiled softly. The fear in her heart slowly melted away, replaced by a newfound faith. Faith in love, and in the acceptance she had never dared to dream of. The afternoon light slowly faded, and the warm hues of sunset retreated, giving way to the quiet veil of night. From the garden, Alex and little Erie walked back inside, the boy clutching a small flower he had just picked. Their laughter echoed through the yard, mingling with the soft scent of freshly cooked rice wafting from the kitchen. When Alex stepped through the doorway, he stopped for a moment, taking in the scene before him. His mother and Tuna setting the table together. Mrs. Linda said something that made Tuna laugh, her gentle smile glowing beneath the golden light of the lamp. Alex stood silently, simply watching, and that alone filled him with a peace he hadn't felt in years. He couldn't remember the last time he saw his mother laugh so freely, nor the last time his home had felt so warm. Little Erie ran in, his small feet pattering across the floor, and held up the flower toward Mrs. Linda. "Grandma, this is for you," he said cheerfully. Mrs. Linda laughed, patting his head affectionately. "Oh my, how thoughtful you are. Thank you, sweetheart." The sight made Tuna's chest tighten with emotion. The way Mrs. Linda looked at Harry, so tender and loving, was exactly how a real grandmother would. She quickly bowed her head, hiding the tear that had formed at the corner of her eye. Alex approached them, smiling. "What smells so good, Mom? What did you two make?" Mrs. Linda turned to him, eyes warm with affection. "Oh, nothing special, just simple dishes. But with Tuna helping, everything tastes better somehow." Tuna blushed and smiled shyly. Alex looked at her, his eyes filled with quiet love. "If she's the one cooking, everything tastes good to me," he teased gently. Mrs. Linda chuckled, tapping her son's shoulder. "Enough of your sweet talk before the food gets cold. Come on, let's eat." The three adults sat down with Harry in the middle, his face beaming with joy. Dinner was simple, filled with laughter and warmth. Mrs. Linda shared stories of Alex's mischievous childhood, how he used to run around the house until she lost her patience chasing him. Tuna laughed softly, while Alex could only grin sheepishly, occasionally glancing at her with tender embarrassment. When the meal ended, Mrs. Linda invited Tuna to stay for tea. A small candle flickered on the table, and the soft fragrance of tea drifted through the air. Her voice was gentle as she spoke. "Today has been a joyful day. It's been so long since this house was filled with laughter. My dear, live honestly and love each other sincerely. Everything else, let me handle." Tuna nodded, eyes glistening. Beneath the table, Alex gave her hand a gentle squeeze, a silent promise. Outside, the night wind rustled through the trees, blending with the soft sounds of laughter still lingering inside the little house. It was a peaceful evening, or so it seemed. Far away, hidden behind the dark line of trees, two pairs of cold eyes watched the house, waiting for the right moment, for the signal me had ordered them to act upon. Would you like me to continue? Here's what happens next. The moment when the warmth of that evening begins to shift into the story's turning point. The silver moon hung low, casting its soft light over the quiet street outside Alex's home. The night air carried a faint scent of jasmine through the breeze. After the warm dinner, Tuna politely said her goodbyes. Harry, already drowsy, rested his head on her shoulder, breathing softly in his sleep. Alex took the basket from her hands and walked with her toward the car. "Let me drive you home. It's late. I wouldn't feel right letting you go alone." Tuna smiled gently. "I don't want to trouble your mother. She's happy," he said softly. "She told me tonight she hasn't seen me smile like that in years." That made Tuna glance up, and their eyes met, his gaze warm and steady, filled with unspoken affection. For a brief moment her heart skipped a beat. The car rolled quietly down the peaceful street. The light from the lampposts reflected off their faces, soft and calm. In the back seat, Harry slept soundly, his small head tilted to the side. Alex drove slowly, stealing glances at Tuna now and then. He wished he could stop time right there, in this simple, perfect silence. When they reached the narrow alley leading to her home, Alex parked the car. The night was still, broken only by the faint chirping of crickets. Tuna opened the door and turned to him. "Thank you for today. I really had a wonderful time." Alex looked at her for a long moment, his voice low and sincere. "No, thank you. You made my mother smile again. Thank you for coming into my life, Tuna." She lowered her gaze, her lips trembling softly. "I don't know what the future holds, but I..." Before she could finish, Alex gently touched her cheek. His voice was tender. "I know." For a moment everything around them seemed to stop. The world held its breath. Moonlight shimmered on their faces, and a quiet breeze carried the scent of wildflowers between them. Tuna stepped back slightly, smiling shyly. "You should go. Your mother might worry." "All right," Alex said softly. "Text me once you're inside." She nodded and carried Harry into the small alley. Alex stood there, watching until their silhouettes disappeared behind the old wooden gate. He turned to head back, and at the far end of the street two shadowy figures emerged. One of them pulled out a phone, typing quickly. "She's home. He just left." The glow of the screen reflected in their cold eyes. A rough voice muttered, "Keep watching. When the moment comes, we move." Inside the small house, Tuna knew nothing of it. She laid Harry gently onto the bed, kissed his forehead, and pulled the blanket over him. Outside, the night seemed calm, but behind that stillness, a storm was quietly gathering.
Xin chào mọi người, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người trong video của mình. Chúc mọi người có một ngày mới vui vẻ. Hiện tại video của mình đang kể về câu chuyện của người mẹ đơn thân lý tưởng Na. Và tình yêu của Tử Na với Alex đang có những bước tiến triển tốt khi mẹ của Alex đã chấp nhận Tử Na làm con dâu của mình. Nhưng biến cố ở phía sau và âm mưu thâm độc của My là gì khi cô ta liên tục sai người theo dõi Tử Na? Liệu Tử Na và Alex có vượt qua được những sóng gió phía trước để đến với nhau hay không? Mời mọi người đón xem video tiếp theo nha. Và để không bỏ lỡ video nào thì mọi người nhớ like, share, bật chuông thông báo để nhận thông báo khi mình đăng video mới nhất. Và rất mong được sự ủng hộ của mọi người để kênh của mình ngày càng phát triển hơn. Mình sẽ có động lực để làm video cho mọi người xem. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video hôm nay. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại mọi người nha.